Appreciate that.
It's a non-renewal contract. We're not. Oh, so that, okay. So. Do we hire a different boys soccer coach? Oh, who's that? Oh, he came back. Okay.
Well, 7 o'clock, everybody. This morning's meeting to order and everyone. All right, we'll start 3.0 roll call school board members. King's absent. Got a hold of us ahead of time. Let us know a couple weeks ago, so she will not be here, but we still have a quorum. Before we go to 4.0 communications and reports, I don't think I need a motion, but I just want to discuss it. Chief Hedlund's on. He's online. So what I'd like to do is suspend 4.0 communications and reports. Go to 5.0, go through the consent agenda real quick and then jump to his item so we can get him and on and off. Is everybody okay with that? Anybody feel we need to have a formal? All right, with that being said, let's move to 5.0, the consent agenda. Anybody want anything pulled? It's uploaded into the consent agenda.
No.
Okay, with all that being said, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as uploaded in the board book.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Questions or discussion? I guess I don't see Cobra here, but there's a couple of the principals. Just nod. Have we got all of our coaches for all of our different either athletic activities or regular activities for fall? Are we full or still looking?
Fall, as far as I can tell, when I spoke to Scott last week, was we're doing good. There's still a winter position, I think, or two that we're still looking for, but I think we're pretty well buttoned up for fall.
Good, winter will come later. So, okay, with that being said, motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by stating aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, now we're gonna go to 6.0 opportunities for citizens to speak on items not on the agenda. I did not have any. Superintendent, did you have any?
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so let's move into 7.0. No, I gotta do this, don't I? Which is, okay, let's move to 7.0. I'll make a motion to move for the agenda as presented as uploaded into board book.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or discussion on the agenda items? All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda as presented signify by stating aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, here's where we're gonna move. Let's go directly to 8.6 to approve the memorandum of understanding for the SRO. So I'll entertain a motion, then get a second, and then we can have discussion, and then Chief Edlin's on for any discussion. So I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Questions or discussion? All right, Chief Edlin, the floor is yours. So if you want to just kind of give us a brief synopsis of kind of the updated changes and some of the chats that you've had with the superintendent and or the new city administrator, maybe you could share that with the board and we'll get you out of here.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for not being able to be there, helping one of our children move down to Joplin, Missouri for dental school. So tied up down in the Twin Cities, I've been with that until tonight. Anyway, apologize for not being there. As I think all of you are aware, we started this school resource officer program about 9 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. Made multiple efforts to get a COPS grant, and finally on the 4th or 5th try, we got one. That kind of got us rolling in this, and I apologize. My computer dings every time an email comes through, so apologize if you hear some things in the background. Anyway, I'll try to stay focused here. We completed our initial grant, the required retention period. We did 1 3-year MOU, and we are just over 1 year into the second 3-year MOU. The practice had been 50-50 on the cost share. Corporal Nick Gunderson has been our SRO since the beginning of this program, and between the city and the school board, or ISB 595, 50-50 cost share. This year, the city is facing some significant budget crunches as we're looking at 2024, and we have what they call the ad hoc finance committee, and I was requested to come to the city, come to the school to see if they would consider taking on a greater share of the cost of the expenses for Nick, because he is during the, when he's on for the full school year, it's roughly 2/3 of his time is spent with the schools versus about 1/3 for the city. So that's where we kind of came with that. I sent Mr. Ackbarth a fairly lengthy email with some details of the history, try to get him up to speed and let him know where the city was coming from in this position. He and I had a good talk. I know Mr. Baseflug and our brand new city administrator, Reed Hutton, also spoke last week. And one of the requests that came out of that meeting was that we try to move forward and try to get Nick so he was going to be able to be back in the schools right away on the first day of school. I guess I can cover that part. We did run into a very serious hiring crunch last year to the point where we had to pull Nick out of the schools. He still worked in the schools every Wednesday and Thursday, and the Fridays that he worked, just basically Friday. Beyond that was the other officers responding to any calls for service that were needed at the schools. At that point in time, we did stop billing ISB 595. In my opinion, we didn't feel it was fair to be billing the school district if you weren't getting the full contractual agreement that we'd had. So we stopped billing the school district effective whatever the date was in March. I don't recall exactly, but March this past spring. Did do some work with our scheduling and we were able to jump some things around. And so we do have Nick set up so he will be in school on the first day of school. And anticipating hopefully that we can move forward and never have to face this issue again. So that's really my big hope. That kind of stemmed from request from Mr. Baseflug and from Mr. Hutton, and we did some digging. It made us do a little work, but we got it figured out. So can I answer any questions at all? That's kind of the nuts and bolts.
So, thanks, Chief. I guess with that, I've been working directly with, and,
I'm having a hard time hearing whoever's speaking. I'm sorry.
apologize, Chief, my mic was off. So with that being said, board, I've been working directly with the city as well as superintendent's been working with the chief. We did make an adjustment. I think it from my seat certainly justified in that adjustment. I did challenge it originally on with the city. Is it 65, 35? I think when you look at the hours by all means, and that comes back to the other discussions of we want either Nick or somewhat of some type of SRO in our schools as much as possible. I think we're there. My ask of you, Chief, is if we can find any grounds or if there's something on our side, we're gonna keep working. Ideal situation, I told Reed last week, ideal situation is to have an SRO on the north end and SRO on the south end. Hopefully that can be our vision and we can get there someday. But I'm certainly supportive of this change. We look at it on a yearly basis. The one thing that Reed and I did talk about on last Thursday, I think it was, in the contract, it defines emergencies. I did ask Reed to ask Chief if he could identify what those emergencies are. And I guess I would agree. It's very difficult to identify what an emergency is. So I think, Chief, we're going to leave that in your hands or your supervisor's hands, to make that good judgment call at the time. But I feel that we have the coverage that we need. We can always use more coverage. My one question for you, Chief, is as you bring on new staff members, is the intent to cross train others? So when Nick's gone, to be able to have somebody in the schools, or are you just gonna fill with one of your officers if needed?
In the past, we have just filled as needed. Our problem is if we train specific officers, they may or may not be available, and you just don't ever know for sure. Well, I guess if Nick calls in sick, for example, it's tough to have that coverage, and that's where we could potentially get into the expenses. Is if we're at minimum strength already, and then Nick takes a day off, we don't have anybody to draw from, so we would have to find to bring in somebody in on overtime.
Okay.
And that's one thing we have not done any billing is for any overtime, even if it's related to Nick covering a special event, for example. If it's a week that for whatever reason he can't adjust his hours and he has to spend some time on overtime, we've paid that overtime. We have not billed for that. So, and that's kind of my plan moving forward as well. I would assume the city will keep on covering and picking up the cost of those overtime shifts. If he takes his vacation or sick, we'll cover as best we can. If we have enough staff members, I would love to be able to have somebody come in and spend time in the school district. I don't know if I do like the idea of having a second SRO. Those are conversations I think we should start and potentially move forward. Riverside Christian has also brought up the idea of an SRO. I don't know if cost sharing down the road is something that we can consider. I'm not sure if Sacred Heart is interested at this point or not.
Okay.
But all those are conversations we can have, and then certainly can start having at any point in time.
Perfect. Well, appreciate it. That's really what I was looking for. I think you hit the key in there with the change of the contract to the 65-35, and then you mentioned requiring overtime, et cetera, whether Nick's gone or you'll see in the contract that he's here at all the extracurricular activities, et cetera. So I guess from my chair, I feel it's a good, well thought out contract. Does anybody have any comments on the contract? If we need to make changes, we can make changes today. I can get this back to Reed. It'll have to go through council side again, because it's already been brought forth at the work session and been approved by council. But they'd certainly be happy to do that if there is any changes. So I'll just put it on the floor here if anybody has any discussion or changes that they see.
But there will be an officer in the district every day of
Yes.
school,
Yes,
whether it's Nick or someone else. Okay,
except in those little emergency situations. Yeah.
except in those emergency situations.
Knock on wood that there isn't any, but certainly they have a city to protect as well as the school. So, all right. Well, good discussion, Chief Edlin. Thank you for any more questions for the chief?
Nope.
All right. There's a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor of approving the MOU for the school resource officer signify by stating aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, chief. Had a good rest of your week.
Thank you, folks. Have a good day.
Okay, so with that being said, let's go back and let's jump back. jump out of the agenda and go back into 4.0 communications and reports. So Brian, you can start 4.1, the finance update.
Yeah, and I sent out the information that Amanda had emailed us. She's obviously out today. But if you wanted to read through that, that was kind of her update for finances. Everybody get that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about any of that stuff?
No.
Okay, that's what I would have then.
Okay, 4.2, administration and department head reports. Did we have any?
Nothing? Okay.
So as the board, maybe we can just chat about this and we can, Brian's giving up updates on a weekly basis, been very good at doing so. Any questions regarding any of those updates?
No.
Certainly appreciate that, Brian. Let's move directly into 4.3 committee reports. Just gonna give an update. I know you updated, but let's update the public where we are there.
So negotiations are underway. We actually met with the EGFEA last week for the first time and kind of went through ground rules and just expectations of how we want to go through negotiations. And so I think that went very well. And we're actually scheduled to meet again with those folks tomorrow morning. So we're thankful to get that off and running. We also made arrangements with the bus drivers association, and we'll be negotiating with them for the first meeting on August 30th at 7 a.m. And so we have that in place. I had a chance to sit down with Mr. Grassel and have a conversation about his contract as well with Ms. Driscoll. And so we were able to have those conversations as well. And I've reported that back to the committee as well. And then, of course, just the SRO contract and some of the dealings we had there. So that was, unless you have anything else, Chairman, that's what I had for negotiations.
No, I think from the negotiations and, we have the teachers, the bus drivers. We have a couple, non-union contracts that we have to,
Yep.
fix up here, and then hopefully we can get the principals going as soon as possible. And those discussions are already being had at the administrative level. So, hopefully at the next board meeting, we'll, have that up and running. So, with that being said, if there's no questions under communications and reports, let's jump right back into the approved agenda. Any other questions on communications and reports? All right, let's jump into 8.1 or 8.0. District business. 8.1 is the policy updates. So several policies. I'm going to turn over to the superintendent. Let's chat about that, and we can make a motion in a second and then have conversation if need be.
Sounds good. Yeah, we met last week again and with the policy committee, and we went through 11 policies, I believe, this time.
Yeah.
And which is daunting just to even say, but we got through it, and ultimately 9 of those 11 we decided to bring forward to the board for approval this morning. I don't think there was anything that we were stuck on throughout the process. This batch was less controversial, I would say, than maybe some of the other ones that we've had to talk through. And so, yeah, I mean, we're ready to go with those today. And unless anybody has any questions, we did send out a link to board members with all of the red lines and changes in those policies.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the policies.
Move to approve the policies.
I'll second.
Questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the updated policies signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. 8.2 is to award the bids for milk and bread, or bread, milk, and fuel. Those are uploaded in the board book. Let's get a motion in a second and we can talk about them if need be.
I'll move.
Second.
Questions or discussion?
How much is that gonna average out per meal? Do we know? Just for the milk and bread aspect of it? No? I don't know. You don't know? And then, do we ever reach out for like fuel bids or like bread and milk, or do we just wait for them to come to us? Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
I think it's been like that. That's probably been the case for, well, since I've been on the board. it's, yeah, and use has been on the board longer and it's.
About the
seems to be,
Yeah.
that seems to be the case all the time,
Oh,
where,
It's lauded that you have to ask for bids.
Yeah,
but not many people answer, so.
okay.
Any other questions? All those in favor of awarding the bids for bread, milk and fuel signify by stating aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. 8.3 is to approve the student handbooks, the district handbook and the district code of conduct. Let's get a motion in a second. We can chat about it if we need be, or if we have any questions for administration, we can go from there.
I'll move to approve the student handbooks and changes to the district staff handbook and the district code of conduct.
I'll second.
Okay, questions or discussion?
I have a few. There's a few corrections that need to be made. In the employee handbook, it states that we give medication instead of mediation. I'm assuming would be the typo.
Mhm.
Under interventions. And then, just a few little things I've emailed administration about things that I spot that probably should be changed. And then I also think all the handbooks and code of conduct should say something that they may change due to legislation and policy changes throughout the year. It's something that's been discussed, but I think that should just be in there just to give parents and everyone a heads up. Only one of the school handbooks had that in there. All the other ones did not.
That's discussion.
Are the changes that you sent an email, is it like typos?
Yeah, like,
Made sure that we were on the same, there was same language.
yeah, just like,
We had went through that prior, but at New Heights, we had left off. That there were some bullet items on behavior, so we had put that in there, so that's under the.
okay, yeah, and then like the, okay. And then the high school one just had some policy errors and then it restated a few things, just random typo that I saw.
So typically with handbooks, because they're so comprehensive, there's so much work that goes on. Typically, we can do a couple readings on these.
Mhm.
And I'm glad that, you know, the process is working, that we're identifying some of the typos and we're seeing some of those errors, because that's part of the process for these handbooks, because they're so comprehensive.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, I would have no issue with, you know, doing one more reading at the end of the month. Before school starts, we'd still have time to do that. We could go back and we can make sure that we have some of those typos fixed.
Mhm.
And we can run it through one more time if the board would like to do that.
Well, there's a motion and a second. We can have more discussion. I think we've done it a good job administratively. With the same process over the years where a board member would bring something. So those issues that you brought up, Amanda, I think, let's get the ball rolling.
Sure.
School's
I
starting.
don't mind, I just
And
pointed
just,
them out.
yeah,
you
as
know,
long as
and
it's
I can
been pointed
follow
out
up.
and admin is working on them, I don't see any big issues. We're not sitting here talking about a big
Nope.
change in any policy or the way things are done in the school. So I don't see a need for it unless
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
all those in favor of approving the handbook signify by stating aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. 8.4 is to set the truth and taxation meeting for December 11th, 2023, at 6 o'clock. We do this every year. We won't. We'll just make sure that we don't change the times of that meeting. And if need be, we can adjust, but we need to set the truth and taxation. So I'm gonna make the motion.
I'll second.
Questions or discussion? Why we have to do that?
I will not be present.
All right, all those in favor of setting the truth and taxation meeting for December 11th, 2023 at 6, signify by stating aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. 8.5 is to approve the addition of a 4-year-old school readiness section and request authorization to advertise for 1.0 FTE teacher for the section. Okay, so Diane brought this to us last time. She has sent the communication, so I'll entertain a motion in a second.
I'll second.
I need a motion first.
I'll make a motion to approve for the addition of 4-year-old school readiness section.
Anybody else? Need a second?
I'll second.
Questions or discussion?
I have a few questions. So for the base salary that is put in there as a prediction, what if what if we can't find someone, or what if we can't find someone for that base salary?
Then that would change.
Yeah, so it's possible that the cost to the district could be significantly more than what is projected.
Technically, yes.
Yeah.
But historically, no. I mean, historically, the people we've hired have been people, from, with a bachelor's degree.
Okay,
It's rare that we hire someone with more than a bachelor's.
okay, so that is usually the usual base salary for a four-year-old preschool program.
Other questions or discussion? I have one. I want to know magically where this 2-week advertisement is and where we're gonna find somebody just like that with school starting.
Yeah, that's the tricky part. I had over the summer, some people reach out to me that were employed by another agency that were interested. So, but at the time I told them we didn't have anything available. So there might be some interest. The other part of that is school readiness. The statute doesn't have to have a licensed teacher yet. It's coming. So last year we were able to use Anna Christensen, so we could do a similar situation like that again. A highly qualified person that is working on a program could also be found.
So we have a classroom that was found, but it's gonna cost $10,000 to set that up.
That's just an estimate when you look at, and if you look at chairs and tables, and I did do some scavenging around the district on Friday with Mrs. Vetter. And I did find some resources that we could use in that classroom. So that's just when it used to be district-wide, when you could add a kindergarten section, it was 10,000 for setup, for room setup. It looks at curriculum purchase. That's at the peak. I wanted to give you what I wanted to aim high so that if it happens to be lower, then it's a bonus for us.
Okay, so here's my question for you. We don't have full student enrollment until students start. We're jumping the ball and saying, we have room for preschoolers, and then all of a sudden we get a bunch more people. I want to challenge the board here
Yeah,
to think about what we're gonna do. The education of the kids that are enrolled come first. There's only 2 weeks left and we're sitting at this board, or we're sitting in this meeting trying to make a decision with 2 weeks left here.
Yeah.
And Soraya is gonna have a tough decision to make. I understand that there's room, but I've also been at this chair talking that we don't have room. So I want the board to have a stern discussion about that, because we're certainly putting the cart before the horse here. And then all of a sudden, if we have 10 other people, and I know we can probably judge enrollment and what have you, but if we have to make adjustments, and now all of a sudden no, I'm sorry, we can't make adjustments. And then this $10,000 of making a room change or adjustment comes back to bite us. That's, I have a concern. So let's talk about it. Yeah, go ahead.
It seems like everything's okay. Right now, we're at 23 and 24, pretty much in those sections we were talking about with 22 and stuff. So I am worried about the 4th grade.
Yeah. And we,
You know, we keep getting 4th grade.
which is great.
Right?
yeah, and I think these are both great problems to have, but we're talking about school readiness. But we know we run into that at the beginning of the school year
So.
or
what I-
throughout the year.
Yeah, what I would like to see from school readiness and the whole program is a strategy. Like, to come in the middle of the summer, towards the end of the summer, and to have these requests and not have a little bit of forecasting that happened in the, Q1 of the year, and then scrambling for room. We're already scrambling for room. They're already eating lunch in their classrooms, and that's hard to hear. And it's probably hard to see, because those kids probably want to run laps. So I really struggle with approving this with such a small amount of time to the school year when that's not always known, like Brandon said, what's gonna happen with the kids already in that school. And we don't have a strategy. It's more so coming to us and saying, we have enrollment increases, but we do need to serve those who are, K through 5 first.
Mhm.
So what happens if we get an influx of, say, fourth graders? And we say we approve this today and we get an influx of fourth graders, then what?
I would have to. And Josh, I think a lot of around as far as mental health being, some of our special ed staff, the structures.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you explain a little bit more in depth what you mean by moving them around?
Sure, sure. For example, Tricia Boyd was talking about we moved her into a kindergarten room. The kids she serves, she needs more space and more room. She was really crunched into that area. For our level 3 service and our students who have those ideas of behavior, Chad had established a room with 2 additional offices in to help serve that, but off of that, we wanted a reset room, given the statute changes of discipline and what we're gonna need to do differently around suspension and disciplinary practices and those types of things. So Tricia agreed that this would be a better space for her, so now that space for us to have an area where we can have kids who are struggling behaviorally. We actually have a landing ground, 3 additional spaces for breakout rooms, and where staff can go to actually come to the ground and reset that. So our mental health team, instead of being all located in the office area now, are spread out in those team rooms, so we have a better response mechanism to respond by grade level to the students. So we really restructured around some of the needs that staff said that they needed at Silverton. And that's some of the movement we've made. Now, with that said, I have 2 classrooms. I didn't know for sure if Dr. Dunn was coming back to South Plains or not, but now that we have her coming back, we needed a small area for further work as well. And then I do have 1 special ed teacher, Miss Nicole Barrett as well, who needed a space. So we took her. Now, could we adjust some of that? Yes, we could. But I also have our EL in a 4 classroom. We could also move that classroom if we needed. So that would allow for space if we had additional room. Those 2 rooms are kind of building up there if we need them.
But it wouldn't allow for space if you had additional enrollment and another school readiness class, right?
Or additional enrollment or special needs that you have to adjust. Yeah. So here's.
Sure.
And early on, it was like movement and but right now, given what's happening with 4th grade, I'm concerned that if I'm happy we're getting more enrollment, but if we continue leaving that.
And I think we need to be mindful about our budget situation.
Yeah,
I would agree that. So that was my 2 comments. We've essentially been at, since the last superintendent was here, since the end of the last school year at a hiring freeze. We've sat up here and we've talked about bringing individuals on, through ARPA funds and things of that way, that, context, looking at the budget tight. We just had, a change in our SRO contract on 65-35. We're watching our budget, watching it tight. We have essentially 0 room. We've talked about this, but I'm just gonna leave those as comments, but.
well, I think it sets a precedence too, if we're like, we're gonna hire a new teacher with maybe a deficit. Other people who need the extra help too are gonna be like coming too.
I would agree. It's different, when we have enrolled students that come on board. Soraya is sitting here and I'm just gonna speak of Mrs. Driscoll, as she brings up that aspect of 23, 24, 25. Those start getting bigger. She's gonna come to us and say, I need a teacher. And you know what? We're gonna say, absolutely, let's figure out how to do this. But I don't know, this puts us behind. I would agree, Lynn, your context of coming up with a strategy, figure out how we're gonna do this. The previous superintendent talked considerably about trying to figure out, where preschool is. I've seen zero movement in that since that conversation's had, and that's been had for a couple of years. I shouldn't say zero movement. They made changes out, where they currently are. But if we need to have a long-term solution, let's have those strategy solutions. So back to the question at hand, there's a motion on the table. There is a second. We're at the discussion phase of whether we're gonna add, an additional, FTE and additional school readiness section. Anything else?
I just want to say that I think everybody thinks school readiness is incredibly important.
I agree.
But
and
I do think that there just needs to be a long-term strategy. I do.
No, I agree. And I know enrollment has been talked about, like students potentially coming, but I don't know. There's actually not that many out of district students. 3 of them are Grand Forks, so they'll never probably come here, and 13 are from outside the district. So if we just kept the students that were gonna stay in the district as a way to decide or something, they're gonna be here anyway. Unless they move.
Yeah, the kids that come, when you're speaking of the district, this, those are the worn out right off.
Mhm.
They're gonna stay in this. I mean, those are the kids that they have to open enroll to come to school.
Yeah.
So we can count that they'll be here for that part, yeah.
All right. Let's vote. Nancy, do a roll on this one. I'll read it first. So there's let's see. Perkowitz made a motion, Brought seconded to approve the addition of a 4-year-old school readiness section and request authorization to advertise for 1.0 FTE teacher for the section. So Nancy, if you'd run roll, please. No.
No,
No.
Yes.
No.
Motion fails. Moving on to, you know what? Let's have a quick comment after the motion fails. I think it is beneficial now. Let's come up with a strategy. Let's
Yes.
figure out how we're moving this forward. I see Ron even sitting out there that, there's other individuals that need to be in this conversation to figure out how we're gonna do things moving forward. So we're not it's not in front of the board where the board's making a decision. These are operational decisions. And I guess I'm a little bit, we approve policy up here, and we're sitting talking about the operational side of things. I know that we've had a change in superintendents, but we also have directors that handle these individual areas. We have administrators that handle these individual areas. So let's start putting plans together before it gets to the board. So I guess moving forward is from my seat, as long as I'm the chair, if there's not a strategy moving forward in any individual area, and I'm going to be stern on this, I'd like to see strategies and or laid out plans with all pertinent parties involved before it comes to the board. So I get this, and this isn't throwing directly at school readiness. This is for the district as a whole. We have an interim superintendent. And I think those are just the wishes of not only myself, but of the board. When things come to the board, we'll make the policy decisions. But we shouldn't have to be up here commenting on the operational aspect of things when there's certainly well thought out and hired individuals that can make those decisions before they come to us. So let's move to 8.6, approve we can skip that. Move to 8.7, let's pay the bills. No, excuse me. Move to
No, we have to accept
8.7, let's
donations.
accept the donations to the school district.
Can I just read them?
So make a motion and then read them.
Okay. I make a motion to accept the donations to the East Grand Forks Public School District from the Youth Basketball Association to the Boys and Girls Basketball for grade school hoops in the amount of $8,333.
I'll second.
Okay, questions or discussion?
Is that in a process of getting set up? Okay.
So Josh, can you put your other hat on and explain a little bit of what this is?
So the YBA is donating money to the school to, right now we have hand cranks at New Heights and they're gonna put electric
Is that
switches in for the hoops.
Good.
So it'll be a lot easier for our coaches when they come in. They're used every night, I think, or 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week. So it's gonna just be a lot easier for, for us as a YBA, but also for the school. They'll have those now. Is there a time frame on that at all, Ron? Okay. Okay. Perfect.
Well, certainly, thank you to the EGF
Mhm.
YBA. And with all that being said, those in favor of accepting the donation from the YBA signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries 9.0. Let's pay the bills.
I'd move to approve the payment of K-12 bills 125,197 through 125,273 and electronic fund transfers in the amount of $1,027,001.06.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussions on the bills that were uploaded in the board book? Okay, all those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. 10.0 is board member comments. So Eric?
Well, just good luck to the fall athletes. I think they start today, right? And then
Yep.
coaches, and then sounds like we have new higher orientation as well. So glad we can get the buildings filled.
Yep, sorry.
Go ahead.
Buildings are coming back, students are coming back, or teachers are coming back. Do we have that education thing or that training coming up, correct? Is it next week or? Yep. Yep. So excited to hear how that goes.
Amanda?
Me, well, I just am really excited to see a thorough plan for school readiness. I think it's awesome. The program's awesome, just too short. Not enough time, not enough information. And super excited for teachers and staff to come back and get ready for all the beautiful chaos that's about to ensue for the first day of school.
Lynn?
I'm excited for school to start as well. I'm excited for my kids to go back to school.
Yeah.
Good luck to all the activities.
I have nothing. I mean, good luck, as I'll echo that. Good luck to everybody. Welcome back. And I think sooner than later, let's start getting together as a group. And I don't know if one of the next meetings, we may have to create some type of committee, or maybe it's an ad hoc off of one of our other committees. We're coming up with our strategic plan. We need to look at that, and maybe just thinking off the cuff, the school readiness should be part of the strategic plan, and all that thrown in there. So it's much easier for us to make those easy decisions, and part of that is we got to start talking about space as well. So that bounces back in the facilities committee to think about what's needed. We've been here before, and a lot of what ifs. What if we did this? What if we did that? What if we did this? But I think it's prevalent with Diane stating that she has the amount of students that are willing to come here. We need to figure out something. So it's not that it's and again, Diane, I hope you don't feel that this is directed against you. This is a bigger school decision that we need to come up with a bigger plan, not just in school readiness. So I think I'm excited to see everybody involved in that. So Superintendent, if we wanted to figure out who's involved in that, and let's get the ball rolling and go from there. With that being said, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I don't have anything. I'm just super appreciative of everybody's efforts this summer. Summer school, all the programming we did was just excellent. Administration has been just top notch. Department heads, I mean, everybody's just on their game. It's just really nice to join a strong team. And so I feel like I've done that here. We've just worked really hard to get prepared for the school year. I'm really excited about bringing everybody back. The last week in August, we already have a ton going on now. There's trainings going on every week, the last few weeks even. And so just tremendous turnout, tremendous attitudes. The leadership has really shined. I think the people's time has been meaningful. which is really important when you bring people in the summer. And so just all the preparation, all the efforts, I think we're gonna have a really great school year, and I'm excited to be part of a comprehensive strategic plan, not only for school readiness, but everything that encompasses East Grand Forks. I'm excited to be part of that conversation.
I should probably jump back on one more of those. So since I met with Mr. Hutton and he took on the new role as city administrator. We've had individuals, it's typically the board chair. We decided in January, or the vice chair. We're gonna start hopefully setting up quarterly meetings with the city. Come up, work hand in hand with them regarding economic development. We lose students. They lose individuals and vice versa. So a lot of the things that they're doing impacts us. A lot of things we do impact them. So I think the strategy moving forward is to work much closer. I used to have a great individual that used to be on the council over there, and I'm looking at him back there, that we used to do some of that, but he decided not to be on the council anymore and just be one of our principals. So, but we need to get back with it. We have a partnership with the city. We just need to make that partnership stronger. And I think this is a great opportunity with the new administrator over there. So more to come on that. Hopefully I'll have more to report at the next board meeting, but I apologize, I didn't bring that up in comments. So 11.0, next board education scheduled for August 28th at 5:30. We will adjust if need be, if there's any special meetings needed.
Are we gonna do 5:30 or are we gonna do 7?
Oh,
I think we have to do 5:30. I think we already booked
that one,
7 AM.
that one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, we don't have anything till the 30th. There's nothing.
I just know it
Or,
was
you
just
know what?
during the summer, we were gonna, or whatever, at 7, so I just thought I'd ask.
Well,
I
well,
thought
let's,
we had a negotiations at 20,
Yeah.
on the 20.
oh, yes, the other, group. Yes,
That's
okay.
7
It's on the 28th.
Yeah.
Yes,
7,
we gotta do 5:30. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's-
We can't
I
change
just
that.
thought I'd ask
Thank you,
before
Todd.
we left today, yeah.
All right, 12.0 is I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, anybody don't want to, everybody want to leave, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.